went yard and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
Welcome to another beautiful day right here. It is Global Morning on Global Television, reaching your live and direct from the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. I'm going to be here from now until, I don't want to say we will be done at 9 o'clock, but then I won't say we are going to be continuing because other broadcasts will be going on after the morning show. Today is Saturday. We need to bring it to you very spicy, very sweet, very correct. As a matter of fact, so many things happening in the polity, but all the time we talk about politics and we also look at human angle challenges that we have. How are you doing? How is the power supply in your area? Did you wake up this morning to meet light? Is your water running? Is your tap running? How are you able to pay your bills? You know, each day people wake up with a lot of things, especially the men in their head. If you open the head of some men right now, you'll wonder what is going on right there. But then that's how it is. For all men out there, today is not Father's Day, but I want to say congratulations for making it this far. All right, because looking at the economy, it's not been very easy, but then it's been very easy. Let me use those two words. It's not been very easy, but it's been very easy. Why? Because you're still alive. You could see your children could say good morning daddy, your wife could say good morning honey, good morning my love, and all of that. And that's one of the things that give a lot of people succor. A lot of people have peace. If you got peace at home, then you begin to think about the economy. Every other thing follows. Have you been able to do the necessary things to contribute your own quota to nation building? A nation building is not just the responsibility of the government alone, but it is our collective responsibility as a people to make Nigeria a great nation. Looking at what is happening right there in the United States, you can actually figure it out that there is virtually nowhere to run to right now. We have to take our destinies in our hands. I could remember on one of our programs, Diplomatic Perspective, where we had two very senior citizens speaking about what is happening in the United States. For the first time, you can hear that about, is it 20 to 30 countries are not finding it very easy with the trade tariff of the United States. And you look at it critically, you will discover that the problem between the United States and China is becoming very obvious, and China is not relenting. That's what it means. No wonder Dr. Ibrahim Biu on my program here said something, that's on Diplomatic Perspective. I could reflect those words time after time, that Nigeria needs to rise to the occasion and look inwards. Look at the natural resources that we have. Even though people can't go to farm anymore, but then there are so many other things we can do as a people. There are ways we can even curb the insecurity that we are crying about if we are at alert, if we are ready to give intelligent informations. I think some of these things will become a thing of the past. But the bottom line is that we have a lot of natural resources in Nigeria that the federal government needs to take seriously. Not just concentrating on oil alone. I know oil is very, very good. It has made a lot of money for Nigeria and Nigerians. But then all attentions should not just be on oil alone. Petroleum should not just be the focus. If you want to talk about petroleum in the first place, how functional is the Warri refinery? How functional is the Kaduna refinery? How functional is the Port Harcourt refinery? We heard some times back that the Port Harcourt refinery was going to pick up, though skeletal activities going on right there, but then are we getting products from there that the people can use? That's the most important thing. Some persons will tell you the economy is picking up. Let's look at the economy first of all. Where did it started from? It started from the first day in 2023 at the Eagle Square when the now president was sworn in, and he made a pronouncement that subsidy is gone. And right from that moment, before they even left Eagle Square, the price of fuel have skyrocketed already. People were becoming stranded on the road because of just a pronouncement by the president. And we have followed that scenario, which actually affected a lot of other things, a lot of other sectors. And Nigerians were being promised, all right, that there were going to be some things that will be done palliatives, and some of the things that will be done to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. Here we are, this is 2025, yeah, 2025, and this is April trying to run to an end here. We are getting into May, the 5th month of the year, and this is where we are. This is where we are. It appears some persons are getting richer while the poor are getting poorer. Not because the poor really want to be poor, but because the economy has not made it very easy for them to thrive. I will tell you for free that Nigerians are very resilient. Nigerians are ready to work. All right. I believe the reason why I talk like this most times is because we interface with the public. The public speak to us so many times. They tell us their mind, how they feel. And when we come up like this, we tend to speak with their heart. And that's why we often say Nigerians are saying. That's the voice of the people. All right. The media is the bridging gap between the government and, of course, the people. As it is right now, Nigerians are struggling to do business. If I tell you how much is being spent on electricity, even in global television here, you will be surprised. But we just need to be up and doing so you could be informed. You could be kept abreast with the news and current affairs and everything happening locally and internationally. And that's the reason we are here. And we are here because you deserve to know. So, I just want to say we shouldn't relent. The federal government shouldn't relent. Do everything possible for investors to come invest in our country. The president just returned from France. And of course, meetings like that don't just happen. Sometimes, most times, they will investors into the country. But then, if investors come in, will they have electricity to power their businesses? With the environment, the tax system is not even the issue. Someone says something that the rich don't pay tax, and I'm yet to come to terms with that word. But then I have not really researched it. I didn't take time to do a research about it. But then we're waiting for when people will start paying taxes on their cars that are being parked back at home at the car park. And of course, a lot of people are invading tax, but that's not the best. But what about the common man? You hear of electricity tariff. You hear about POS tariff, that's point of sales. You hear about bank charges. You hear about hike in the price of transportation. All these affects the common man. That's the reason a lot of people are lamenting on a daily basis. These are the kind of things people face. Some people don't even care if the price of fuel is 1,500 because they barely pay for these products. They just use them because they are privileged, because they are the elite, because they are the big men, the rich men in quotes. But then, can the rich actually exist without the average Nigerians. I don't want to use the word common Nigerians because no Nigerian is common. I use the word average Nigerians. So the average Nigerians are still waiting for that time. We heard recently that the price of fuel was going to drop because of what's happening at the international market and for the fact that crude to dollar, crude to naira has been settled. The situation was brought under control by the federal government, and we heard that fuel was going to sell for as low as maybe 700 or maybe 800. But no matter what the problem is, I think we need to do what we need to do, all right, to actually make sure Nigerians are comfortable, Nigerians get what they need to get. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll look at the national dailies. What are the papers saying today? Because you deserve to know. You're back at home today. You didn't go to work. Some persons had vigil. Some persons are having events today. I know. But then, do you notice that events have reduced? All right. The rate at which people go for events, it has reduced. Maybe because it's not a season. But then it's still happening. I could remember around my office here, there was a celebration that happened, a wedding that happened, and everywhere was blocked. Meaning people still do luxurious weddings, luxury weddings, all right? And some persons are doing it, cutting the cloth according to the size of the cloth. All right, you don't cut it according to your size because it may not enter you if you are the big type. Everyone have a dream. Everyone have a vision. All right, so we just need to keep hope alive and ensure we live our dreams. And it's possible. It's possible. We don't need to depend on the government for everything. Do the little you can. Do the little you can. All right. And of course, you'll see yourself growing in it. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, we'll look at the pages of the national dailies. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. I will be back after this break. Welcome back from that break. It is that time where we'll bring you to speed with the national dailies to see what the papers are saying. What are the papers saying this beautiful 26th day of April 2025? It is Saturday. I know a lot of people are already on their way to the event venue. Some persons are still back home. I know some persons wouldn't miss this newspaper review for anything because they feel if you are informed, you will be able to at least know what is happening and build on that to grow. But if you're not informed, you'll be deformed, and deformity is not part of the system. Now, on the National Daily today, it's 26th April 2025. This is the Weekend Trust. On the Weekend Trust this morning, we have this headline which says, Nigeria could be greater than America. Lindsey Barrett is the one saying that. I believe in this. Nigeria could be greater than America. I know some people will say, oh, oh, what is he saying? Is this man okay? Because sometimes you even tell some people, pray for Nigeria. They say me, pray. In fact, there was a time that someone almost quarreled with me because the person was bitterly complaining. And I said, well, it's well, God will help us. Nigeria is going to be a great nation one day. Nigeria will be better. The economy is going to fall in place. Remember what happened to Ghana. Remember how the United Arab Emirates became what they are today. And the person was angry because I said there is hope for Nigeria, and I was like, okay, let me hold my peace. Let me hold my peace. If you don't want to pray for Nigeria, I'm going to be praying for Nigeria. Nigeria is going to be great someday. It's a matter of keeping hope alive. I believe in this too, that Nigeria could be greater than America someday. Details you can find on page 13 of The Weekend Trust by Lindsay Barrett. Bandits kill 28 in fresh attack in Zamfara State. This banditry keeps happening. I don't know when we are going to sleep with our two eyes closed in this country. The problem is that these guys are everywhere. And I keep wondering, how did it escalate to this level? Because some persons were playing politics with it according to what some Nigerians believe. Some Nigerians will tell you this thing came in 2015 because of Jonathan. Some people will tell you some persons are behind it. Sometimes you will hear that some persons are the sponsors of terrorists, and they are not named and shamed. They are not even brought to book. I don't know what happened to them. But then, if we know the people sponsoring this terrorism, then a problem known should be half solved. But it reverses the case. We keep having cases of kidnapping, cases of terrorism, and of course banditry on a daily basis, and we don't get to hear anything. The only thing you hear is negotiate with them. Let's negotiate with them. You hear the former governor of Kaduna State, this and that. You hear Gumi, this and that. You hear the federal government or maybe the security operatives saying, well, they know some persons who are sponsoring this terrorism, but then we don't get to see them. But before you know it, you see something being hung on someone's neck. All right, by the authorities to say this person is wanted, this person is this person stole 10,000 naira and all of that. Stealing is a crime. No one is saying it's good, but then the people who are the real thieves should actually be shown to the public. People who are sponsoring terrorism, if they are really known, like we are being told, they should also be named and shamed and be made to face the wrath of the law, because lives have been lost on a daily basis. I heard yesterday of a little child whose mother was murdered in his front, and that child till now is not fine. It's not fine, because this is what an adult cannot even come to terms with. Talk of a child, okay? And it's a pathetic and serious issue right now. So the authorities need to rise to the occasion. The meeting with the security chiefs by the president, we are waiting for the positive outcome of that meeting. I'm waiting for when we will sleep with our two eyes closed and our people could travel on the highway without the fear of banditry and kidnapping. People could go to farm without being murdered, and we can say Nigeria is moving forward. But with this, and we are only thinking about 2027, I don't think it's a good one. So something needs to be done. That's what Nigerians are saying. That's what Nigerians are thinking about right now. All right, 2027, the big story says governors who may defect to APC. The mass exodus of governors is becoming alarming. Governors throwing their support for APC. Are we walking towards a one-party system in Nigeria? But I don't think that will be possible. I don't think. I'm just thinking. That's my opinion. I don't think it will be possible. We'll still have two ballot boxes. Put your ballot here. Put your ballot here. You have this party. You have this party. You have this party. We'll have a lot of parties in Nigeria. But then, the way governors are defecting to APC, what have they seen? I don't know. If you ask me, I won't be able to tell you categorically what they've seen. 2027, a lot of politicking going on right now. Look at what happened in Edo State. But then there is a question. I don't know who is going to answer this question. Maybe you can answer it from there. Between Omogege and Okowa, who is going to be the leader of APC in Delta State? And that's one of the things we should also think about, so that we don't start having faction, or probably maybe that has been settled already, but Nigerians are asking questions. I saw it somewhere on the internet today where someone was saying between Okowa and Omogege, who is going to be the leader of the party in Delta State. Well, defection has happened. Okowa has left. Oboweri have also left, all to APC. Let's see what happens at the end of the day. What's the hope of the People's Democratic Party? As a guest yesterday said, well, there is no PDP anymore. But I tell you that some persons are politicking on the ground. The coalition, is it really going to hold water? These are some of the questions Nigerians are asking, still on the Weekend Trust. How vigilante groups protect communities, create problems. One rider to that story, 68 persons killed in 3 months. 68 persons killed in 3 months. Then Reason says grain hoarders face massive losses over declining prices. People who hoard grain, you know, some people hoard rice, some people hoard beans, some people hoarded guinea corn, some people hoarded maize. A lot of grains were hoarded, but then the market seems not to be favoring those who hoarded right now because of the decline in price. And one of the things Nigerians will always pray for is decline in price. Because, my God, if you get to the market and you return, someone says something jokingly, and I was like, hey, I laughed. He said, well, the day he went to the market himself, that the wife didn't go to the market, that he went to the market himself, he almost ran back home. Sometimes you don't know what the women go through going to the market because the price of commodity, the price of grain, the price of food items is on the rise every day. But then I think it's a good news if grain holders are facing massive losses over declining prices. Sometimes it's not a very good news, but for Nigerians, if the price of food items is declining, they will be happy because the money is not even there. If the money is there and you can buy these things, no one will feel bad, no one will complain about it. But that the money is not even there at all in the first place is where the problem is. All right. This one says a phone snatcher sent victims to hospital. Details on page 25. Phone snatcher sent victim to the hospital. Now let's move to the Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint Weekend. Above the nameplate, it says Tinubu ready to pass leadership baton to next generation. Jandor is the one saying that. Tinubu is ready to pass leadership baton to next generation. Who are the next generation? Because someone will tell you, they told us we are the leaders of tomorrow, but we've been waiting and the tomorrow has not come. That's what some people are saying. But the tomorrow will surely come. Just one writer to that story, and he said it urges president's re-election to actualize it. Is this one part of the politics? Jandor, is it part of the politics? Jandor says Tinubu is ready to pass the baton to the next generation. Then he said he's urging the president's re-election to actualize it. All right, let's wait and see what's going to happen. This one says rising cost of Medicare. Rising cost of Medicare concerns as more Nigerians turn to social media for prescriptions. Oh my God. You know what it means, and it's true. If you get to the social media, if you get on social media now, you see a lot of prescription. You see a lot of emergency doctors, emergency medical practitioners. They will tell you, well, you get this, you put it in the water, you boil it, you do this, then you take it, it will cure this, it will cure that. But at the end of the day, does it have a dosage? Does it really work? How many part of the system has such prescriptions destroyed? But then, when people have no option, when people cannot go to the hospital, when people cannot even afford to get a card, not to talk about consultation by the doctors, not to talk about drugs yet, what else do you expect from Nigerians? You see a lot of people going on social media. They just get a data of maybe 100 naira, go on social media, and they start looking for prescriptions. This is how deteriorating the Medicare has gotten to. Our health system is deteriorating on a daily basis. For some time now, the primary health care in Abuja has been under key and lock, on strike. I know of pregnant women who cannot go for antenatal right now. I know of people who have malaria and don't know what to do. A lot of them are resorting to these people who carry an unquantified, unscrutinized, not registered with NAFDAC kind of medicines, and they give to people because people don't have anywhere to run to anymore. This is the life of human beings that we're talking about. Yet we have a system running. Yet we have people in governance. Yet we have people who want to be voted for in 2027. You see what we're talking about? A lot of people have become hypocrites. A lot of people have become, I don't know what to call them, greedy people, just being mindful of themselves, not caring about what happened to others. But then we should think twice, all right, that whether you are a politician, whether you are rich, whether you are an average Nigerian, one day, the time of everyone will expire. We've had presidents who have passed. We have chiefs of army staff. We have generals. We have politicians, National Assembly senators, House of Rep members, local government chairmen, governors that have passed that have lost their lives in the past. Their time is up and they just got to go. We've had situations like that. So what am I trying to say? We are all human, okay? And we need to treat each and every person that we see as one. That's what it means. So the health of people. Imagine, I just want to commend the government for putting up the primary health care. If you go there and you see how people rush in to get Medicare, you will be surprised. A lot of people can't afford the big private hospitals in town. So a lot of them resort to the primary health care, the general hospitals. So we need to have our general hospitals and primary health cares equipped. But I'm so surprised that, I don't know, the government is quiet over the fact that primary health cares in FCT have been on strike and people are stranded. People are losing their life. The terms and conditions have not been met. If part of it can be met, just like we heard a part of it was met and the people were not satisfied, let's get back to the drawing table. I think I need to commend the presidency, the president alone, again, for clearing the outstanding debt of lecturers, okay, ASU, NASU, and the rest of them. Same thing needs to be done, okay, in the health sector, education sector, health sector, very important. All of that sectors are important, but human beings need to be alive before they can even be governed. That's what it means. So it's not a good one that rising cost of Medicare has resorted to the concern as more Nigerians turn to social media for prescription. Experts are crying, quacks having field day on social media. Experts are the ones saying that. Another writer to that story says celebrities, influencers often mislead followers. Dr. Ubani is the one concerned. Stories of Nigerians slumming, dying commonplaces due to self-medication. A lot of people, sometimes you hear this person slumped and the person didn't wake up again. I saw a video of a man whose wife was celebrating her 60th birthday. He was talking and right there he slumped. You know, a lot of people are living with ailments that they are not supposed to live with. A lot of people are managing their lives because they can't afford health care. What is the federal government providing for the people in the first place? The number one priority, of course, should be the health of the people. So it's so amazing when I hear that doctors are on strike, doctors are jackpying, there's brain drain, Federal Medical Center on strike, or maybe primary health care on strike. You know, it's not a good one at all. More still coming from the Nigerian Blueprint newspaper this morning. This one says, health danger of chemical ripen foods. Rivers still fragile. I need more time to prepare a brief. Ibas tells the House of Rep. Details on page 7. I think it's so good. The House of Rep is monitoring and supervising what's happening in Rivers State because the sole administrator is there. I don't think the allocations, the money is being spent there. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know who he's accountable to, but then setting up a committee to look into what is happening in Rivers State is good. And for the fact that there was a meeting between Fubara and the president, we are still waiting to hear what's going to be the outcome of that meeting. Is the suspension going to be called short soon? Well, that's by the way. And of course, let's just keep our fingers crossed. Ibas is saying, give me a little time. Give me a little time. Let me put my house in order before I actually brief the National Assembly. And this one says BS return as equity market shells 202 billion naira. Say BS return as equity market shares. All right, sheds 202 billion naira. And of course, the last one from the Blueprint this morning, Blueprint Weekend, says Tinubu remains committed to unifying Nigerians across religion divide. Idris is the one saying that. Let's move away from there and go to the next paper, which is the Vanguard. What's the Vanguard saying this morning? Where are the Vanguards? All right. Okay. Let's look at the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper. That is Saturday Vanguard, as it is being called. On the Saturday Vanguard, to the left-hand side, you see why Putin, Netanyahu may be absent as world leaders. Millions bid Pope Francis farewell today. The tale of two popes. Details on page 18. This one says, Plateau communities attacked, occupied by criminal headsmen. Rise to 64, rename one reveal. All right. This one says, Tribunal upholds FCCPC's $220 million fine against Meta and WhatsApp. A tribunal upholds FCCPC's $220 million fine against Meta and WhatsApp. All right. Tension grips Labour Party as fears spread. OT, other members may join APC. OT and other members of Labour Party probably may join APC. The exodus to APC is what I have not come to terms with yet. Why the exodus? Everyone is just moving. I don't know the game that APC is playing. I don't think we will end up in a one-party system. But then, what is one-party system? That's when we have just one major party always in charge in a country. Well, let's see how that goes. On page 7, it says, Wike gives condition for peace in Rivers. What are the conditions? Pick a copy of the Vanguard newspaper and you'll see what the conditions are. Wike give conditions, okay, in Rivers State. Let's see how all of that is going to end. What condition is it given? Has the president also had a meeting with the former governor of Rivers State? I'm talking about Nyesom Wike. A lot of people have said in the past that the fight in Rivers State is not just a political fight. It's not just all about godfatherism, but something is there that a lot of people don't know. The president has met with the suspended governor, and Wike is now given conditions, all right, for peace in Rivers State. Details you can find on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper, and this one says 2027 is the rider. And of course, Atiku dividing PDP. He will not get our ticket. Odeyemi, ex-PDP deputy spokesperson, is the one saying that. You can find details on page 12. Then another story here, still on the Vanguard newspaper, says Nigeria going the way of Peru, says Bugaje. I don't know what's Peru right now. Okay, so if you want to know what Peru is, just go to page 29 of the Vanguard newspaper. This one says Obowori Okowa's defection to APC. Unmistakable battles ahead in Delta. Some of the writers to the story says, who leads Delta APC, Obowori or Omoagege? How will Ibori Okowa finally resolve their unsettled quarrels? These are the things in, of course, on the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. Uju Okoli's picture is right there, very bold. And we have, I don't know if this statement is coming from her, but then details on page 10 of the Saturday Vanguard. From the Saturday Vanguard, let's quickly get to the next paper, which is the Saturday Punch. How punchy is the Saturday Punch this morning? Let's quickly look at it and see what the papers are saying right there. As a matter of fact, we're bringing you the stories and the analysis alongside. Now, it says, Barrister raised me, but I didn't learn Fuji from him. K1, the ultimate, is the one saying that. Reason says, scandal. Osun monarch, pastor admits to COVID-19 fraud in U.S. All right. This one says 2027 article slams Tinubu as Kwankwaso weighs option. Details on page 4. The Star story right here says banditry. Hunters seek federal government's backing for physical and spiritual warfare. Right? Banditry, that's the rider. And the kicker, beg your pardon, that's the kicker. Then hunters seek federal government's backing for physical and spiritual warfare. Then some riders to that story, and the first rider says Tinubu should sign bill to recognize us as paramilitary force. This is coming from hunters. We are ready to make sacrifices for Nigeria. That is Agbekoya is the one saying that. More stories on the Vanguard, the Punch newspaper, Saturday Punch this morning. Inside Nigeria's mosque, where humans, rodents compete for body parts. All right. Why I chose to become a commercial bus driver. Why I chose to become a commercial bus driver. Woman battered by Lagos thug is the one saying that. I saw that video and it didn't go down well with me, where that lady was actually being battered, by a thug, in Lagos State, and she was crying, showing her injury. I saw that video when she was saying she needs help. Well, it's not a crime that she's a bus driver, a Danfo driver in Lagos State. I've seen women drive taxi in Rivers State and even in Abuja, the FCT. So it's not a wrong thing for a woman to be a bus driver, a commercial bus driver in Lagos State. She said she has her reason. She have her reasons why she chose to become a bus driver. Help! My wife disappeared with my 4 kids' property. Journalist is crying out. Say the wife disappeared with his 4 kids and property. Right? All right. One writer to that story. He cheated with many women, says mother-in-law. He cheated with many women, and the wife decided to pack her kids, her property, and Jackpa. I don't know if she is Jackpa, but then she's gone away. Journalist is the one crying out. You people would have put the guy's name instead of using journalist. Put his name instead of using journalist, because you can't just put journalist here, because if you put journalist, it sounds somehow. All right. So next time, Punch newspaper, next time, put the person's name and don't just put journalist. That name is generic to an extent. All right. And when you say journalist, you're talking to a group of people. Let it not appear as if that's how journalists behave. So just put the person's name next time. If you don't know the person's name, put anonymous instead of putting journalist, even if the person is a journalist. There are so many acclaimed journalists today, because some persons just open one page on social media and they parade themselves as journalists. All right, so that's it on the Punch newspaper. And of course, finally from the Punch newspaper, EFCC fumes as motivational speaker demands $18,000 for mentorship. Oh, I saw this. I saw this where a mentor, I'm not going to call his name, where a mentor actually spoke about it. And I was like, well, some persons could be able to pay $18,000 for mentorship. It's on the papers. And I've seen reactions on social media about this very particular issue. And I know of a mentor who had paid something like that, not exactly, but something very heavy, all right, to be mentored by, I don't want to call the name of an American author, a public speaker, a motivational speaker, okay? Maxwell, of course. Let me leave the first name, but it's Max. The second name of the mentor is Maxwell, and he had actually gone through the mentorship, and he's proud of who and what he is today. And he made a statement about it, that if not until you know the importance and the value of this, you will think it is on the high side to pay for such mentorship. Well, that's by the way, but then EFCC is fuming. EFCC is frowning at the fact that someone is charging $18,000 for mentorship. I think that's personal property. Is this idea, is this mentorship? So he can decide how to go about it. Then the Saturday Times, the big story says Pope Francis for burial today. Senate President Akpabio leads Nigerians delegation to a funeral. All right, so then this one says APC demands justice over alleged murder of Okpebolo's security aide. Details on page 10. Defection, alliances, realignment, parts of democratic politics. That's coming from Atiku. And of course, I have this one which says Tribunal uphold FCCPC's $220 million fine against Meta and WhatsApp. 2027, that's the kicker. Okowa's APC move has secured Tinubu's re-election, says Okpebolo. All right. Let's move away from there, okay, and get to the Nation's newspaper. On the Nation's newspaper this morning, we have some headlines on the Nation's newspaper. And this one says, Rivers emergency. You are meddlesome interloper, NAS tells 11 PDP states. Some writers to that story, and the first one says, sick 1 billion naira cost against Adamawa, 10 others. A state still fragile despite relative calm, says Ibas. Tribunal upholds FCCPC's $220 million fine against Meta and WhatsApp. The writer to that story say Bello reiterate commitment to consumers protection. Are you sure? The big story says Atiku hits PDP leaders as Obowuri defection unsettles party. World gathers as Pope Francis goes home. One writer to that story, Akpabio leads Nigerians delegation to prolific burial. This one says IMF applauds Nigeria for exchange rate reform, subsidy remover. IMF applauds Nigeria for exchange rate reform, subsidy remover. Is someone making gain from some people suffering right here? I don't know. I'm just asking. Tariff hike. Okonjo Iweala says Africa's tariff trade with U.S. limited. Ibrahim tags IMF on economies of developing countries. Mohbad, that's from the entertainment scene. Second autopsy ruled out drug abuse. Then 1.3 trillion naira CBEX fraud. EFCC declare 8 persons wanted. I think I'm wrapping up. Let's quickly look at the Guardian newspaper before we call it a wrap. On the Guardian newspaper this morning, World IP Day 2025, Intellectual Property and Music, a Living Partnership. Today is World Intellectual Property Day. Then this one says a boundary dispute ignites killing, violence among Osun and Oyo community. The big story, Tinubu world leaders bid Pope Francis farewell today. And as a matter of fact, alleged defilement, Ogun dropped charges against school proprietor Adelaja. Ibas appears before Reps Committee, says Rivers still fragile. Ofawemi's property, Falana, Arogundade others decry safety threat as developers ignore setback laws. And finally, from the Guardian newspaper, Dangote Elumelu, Jimo, Nigeria's real brand ambassadors. That's the back page of the Guardian newspaper. And as a matter of fact, this is going to be the size of the newspaper review for this morning. But then, one thing I'll keep saying is just try as much as possible to digest the information you get. Be careful the kind of information you take in, because there are some TV stations that if you tune to today, all you hear is violence, all you hear is killings, all you hear is untold hardship. You see pictures, you see images, you see visuals that are not so appealing. Please try as much as possible to stay away from anything that will affect you emotionally and psychologically, so you don't get to do anything silly. Because sometimes, if you want to think about the insecurity situation in the country and other things, you will be emotionally affected. One of my colleagues watched a video yesterday, and she was in tears. Let me use that word. She was in tears because a little child was crying, how a mother was. Just try as much as possible to control the kind of information you digest, especially on social media, Be careful the kind of medications, instructions you take from people on social media, because some of these people are not experts. Before you take any information from anyone, know that the person is a professional and an expert in that field. All right. This is just a school of thought. This is just my little word of advice before I bring the Global Morning on this beautiful 26th day of April 2025 to a close. Once again, many thanks for joining us on Global Morning today. More programs still lined up for you on Global Television. And don't forget that Global TV is on DSTV, Channel 365, and Star Times, Channel 276. And don't also forget to download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app on Play Store and iOS so you can be part of our daily broadcast. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for joining us today on Global Morning. Bye-bye for now.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled, we had to strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.